to do is I'm holding my paper the long way, like this. And I want to draw a line, a horizon line, about 2 inches down from the top of the paper. So using a number 2 pencil or an H pencil would be good. An H pencil would keep you from drawing the line too dark. Okay, like that. Just light enough, just dark enough that you can see it. All right. So what I'm going to do now is on that line, let me see here. On the very left side, I'm going to draw, for me, VP1. Okay, this is VP2. So these dots are real close to the very far left and right side of the paper. About 1.5 inches down, approximately, I want you to draw a vertical line kind of in the center of this paper. About 1.5 inches down. And the vertical line can be about 2.5 inches. Okay? And if you don't have a ruler, just kind of eyeball it. I want you to draw a point at the top and bottom of that little line segment and connect those points to vanishing point 1. Just with a very light line, because you're going to erase some of that line. So I don't want you to press too dark. Just like that. Connect those points with the vanishing point 2 on the opposite side. So I'm going to do that. Okay, like that. So what you're going to have here, I'll make this a little darker so that you can see, is it looks like a wall. You have a wall that's going off into the distance and disappearing into the distance, and on the right and on the left side. This is like, imagine we're looking at the corner here of a wall. This is about 1.5 inches. Okay, and this here is about 2.5 inches. We're going to draw now 2 more vertical lines right here and right here to kind of set up a limit. So this isn't looking like a wall that goes on forever. I wanted to actually kind of end it and put a line there that's parallel to the center line that you drew, and let it also be parallel to the left edge of the paper here. So just make sure your line's nice and straight. That's what I'm saying. Okay? And there's no set amount. I mean, if you want a set amount, this is about 1 3/4 inches. But it doesn't have to be exactly 1 3/4 inches. It could be a little less, it could be a little bit more. But I just don't want you to make a skinny box, like, draw a line here and then you end up with like a rectangular prism. I want this to look kind of like a cube when it's done. Okay? So after you draw those 2 lines, I want you to erase the extra, the lines that are going to be outside of the box here, these lines that go to the vanishing point. I want you to erase those. So we are going to erase all of these unnecessary orthogonal lines now. We just use the lines to help us find the lines that make up the top of the cube. So anything that extends above that, just erase it. I'm going to erase that. And now the shadow for the cube. So the shadow would fall on the opposite side of the light source. So if the light is here, the shadow would fall upper left-hand corner. The shadow would fall in the lower right-hand corner. So use a vanishing point to draw the shadow right here. So we're going to extend this line. It's the same line for the bottom of the box right here. Just draw a little point at the bottom of this very long middle edge line, and we're just going to extend it outward like that. I'm going to put a little point at the bottom of this corner here, the end of this line, and we're going to use vanishing point 1 to extend the line out for the shadow. Then use vanishing point 2, now that on the opposite side, to kind of create the top of that shadow if you want to actually show the top of the shadow and show that the shadow is a square shape. In actuality, you know it's not a square shape. It's a trapezoid on your paper, but we're just going to say it's a squarish, rectangular shape, probably more of a rectangle in real life. I'm gonna pick red. So I have a black colored pencil, I have a red colored pencil, and I'm going to I'm going to shade in my shadow. So I'm going to give myself a little help by drawing a few orthogonal lines that point to vanishing point 2. Now, why am I doing that? Because you'll notice that the lines actually change angle, and I might not follow that correct angle if I didn't give myself a couple guidelines to show how the lines kind of shift in angle. So I'm giving myself a couple more here because I don't want to mess it up. Okay, so those kind of horizontal lines are going to go in that direction. And then the ones that crisscross over the so-called vertical lines are going toward vanishing point 1. So I just want to give myself a couple guidelines so that I make the rest of the lines in between kind of close to the correct angle. Okay, like that. So and I try to put it in as light as I could. I know I'm going to go a little darker because this is my shadow. So I'm now going to go in and try to put in my lines real close together. But I do want to leave a little bit of space so that the black colored pencil that I'm going to use will have a place to stick to. Because colored pencil doesn't normally like to stick to colored pencil as well as just the white of the paper. And as I come outward, see what I'm doing? I'm trying to increase the amount of white I see in between my pencil strokes. And I gotta ease up on the pressure too, since I'm only working with these 2 colors. And colored pencil, you can't shade, like you can't like smudge it or do any of those effects with colored pencil. Okay, so I want to go for a dark to light thing here. I also want to do that going in the opposite direction. But when I do the opposite direction, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift my pencil, lift, and kind of flick my pencil up a little bit without creating a curved line. Just lift, so that my line gets a little bit skinnier and a little lighter toward the end where I'm lifting my colored pencil. Lift. Okay, and I'm glad I drew those guidelines because my lines would be so off. All right. So that's how to do that, but that's going to be way too light. So I need to maybe add another row of lines in between the lines that I just drew, because this is a shadow and it should be much darker. So let me just go ahead and very quickly put those lines in. Alright, and I'm going to put in another set of lines here. The ones that go so-called horizontally with the shadow, and they are the lines that are going actually toward vanishing point 2. And I am going to now add the black, the second color. So do the same thing. I just saw this quick YouTube clip on the artist Bob Ross recently, and they were, I don't know how old it was, but they were going to, he has a company that represents him, and they are Bob Ross Incorporated, and they were going to actually have an exhibit at the Smithsonian. Now I don't know how old this video was, but they were going to show his work at the Smithsonian. He's a TV painter and artist. He does these relaxing landscapes and stuff on television, on PBS, a public channel. And yeah, he got really kind of popular in the last couple of years where people were selling his t-shirts. And he's also kind of like, I think, part of that ASMR movement where you have those relaxing videos where somebody talks very calmly and just very soothing, you know, for people who like soothing sounds, soothing voices. And yeah, what I was amazed at is when he made those paintings, he did 3 versions. He did one as a practice before his show. He did one as he was doing the taping of the show, and then he did a 3rd one, and for himself to work out any problems he thought he had with all the others. So as an artist, he did care. A lot of his stuff is considered shtick. Shtick is like non-serious art, but he really cared about what he did, even though people didn't take his art seriously, some people, because he actually did 3 versions of each of his paintings. I think there's like 30,000 paintings of his because of the fact that he did multiple versions of his paintings. Because he wanted to get it right. He cared about his craft, even though nobody took him, you know, too seriously as a fine artist. They were like, oh yeah, that TV painter guy, yeah, that hippie dude. So that's how it's supposed to look like for the shadow. So if the shadow is going to be here on this side of the box, this is going to be the dark side of the box. Okay, we're going to determine that. This is the light side, and this is going to be the medium side. So the light side of the box is easy. Why don't we do that real quick right now? And those lines go toward vanishing point 1. And let's see how much time. We probably have 1 minute. Yes, we do. All right, we can clean up this edge now or later, it doesn't matter. If it bothers you, you can clean up the edge now. Okay, so let's shade the dark side. So whatever we shade the dark side of this cube is going to have to be lighter than the shadow. So the vertical lines are true vertical lines. They are vertical to the left and right side of the paper. They are not vanishing point lines. So I would put my red lines close together still, because this is supposed to be my dark side. All right, so if the shadow's falling on this, this is my dark side. Let's make the top the light side, and over here on the right side is going to be our medium value side. So let's just put a general dark, medium, and light value on all 3 sides, all 3 visible sides. Cubes actually have what? They actually have how many sides? 6 sides, right? So, but you don't always, you can't, it's impossible to see all 6 sides at once. Because some sides are going to be under, some sides are going to be turned away from the viewer, right? Now, these lines over here that are going to go horizontally across the front of this face of the cube are going to be orthogonal lines. They're going to be a vanishing point or orthogonal lines. That means the same thing. So I need to use my ruler to give myself a couple guidelines to help me, you know, create my lines and make them go at the right angle. Because I might make them too straight down here when they should be a little bit more pointed downward. Okay, so now after I draw a couple lines that go to the vanishing point 1, I'm going to fill in all the in-between spaces between them with more red lines going across. And then I'm going to do a layer of cross-hatching in black on top of what I just put down. Okay, I'm not going lighter or darker or anything like that on purpose. If you feel like you're seeing me get lighter here on this edge, I'm not doing that. Maybe that's unintentional, so I'm going to make it a little darker. Okay, now I'm going to go in with a black colored pencil, and I'm going to put in a layer of black, and I'll put in my vertical lines here. Going this way. Okay, now I'm going to step back a little bit and look at my two sides. Are they too similar? I think so. Can I get a little darker on the shadow? I believe I can. So I'm going to put some more black down on the shadow and just put another layer of black there and just adjust it. And just doing that, just a layer of lines going horizontally across and then another layer of lines just going vertically. That should just make it dark enough to show a difference between the shadow and the side of the box. Yeah, that a little lighter. There we go. And then I'm going to switch to the red. Put a little bit more of that red in there too. Okay. Okay, I feel like that kind of darkened things up a little bit more, so I like that. That's going to be my dark side. So let's work on our medium side. So the medium side's vertical lines are just regular vertical lines. I'm going to make my lines a little further spaced apart because it's supposed to look lighter. I'm not going to use as much pressure, okay? And then the lines that are supposed to go horizontally are going to be those vanishing point 2 lines. So you can give yourself a couple guidelines using vanishing point 2 so that you could draw the lines at the correct angle. And I am just going to fill in between with the other lines. But I gave myself a guideline because there's a dramatic change in the length of the line as well as the angle. This top line here is very different from this line right here, the angle. So this side is going to have to appear lighter than this side. Meaning, this side, I have a feeling, because I put the lines in, they're starting to already look very similar. I might have to make this side a little darker, just so that it's not looking the same as this side. So I put some vertical and some horizontal lines in red. Now I'm going to do the same thing in the black and see if it looks the same. My vertical lines are just vertical lines, lines that are straight up and down, that are parallel to the edge of the paper. They're not vanishing point lines or anything special. They're just vertical, straight up and down. Now I'm looking at this, and I feel like this and this are too similar. So I'm going to have to go back and add more to this. So let's add some more red, another layer of red, and another layer of black, and let's see if that's enough to push this to become a little bit darker. So you will have to do a little bit of back and forth and adjusting. That's perfectly normal. Turn the paper so it's more comfortable for you when you draw your lines. And yep. So I'm just layering on some red and some more red and more black. Okay. Okay, let's take a look now. Oh yeah, it is starting to get darker. Is my shadow darker? Yes, my shadow is darker, okay, than my darkest side. So I was also then afraid that my shadow would start to compete with my darker side of my square, of my cube, I mean.
Miss Hannah, after you're done with that, can you go back to the cylinder?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. For 1 second.
Yep. So I am, right now, I'm just drawing 3 lines there to help me figure out, you know, the angles that I should be drawing all the lines that are in between. So I'm going to keep my spacing pretty wide because, and I'm going to put very little pressure on my pencil because I don't want this top to look dark at all. And I'm going to put some lines, I better use the vanishing point lines here too. The whole top of this cube is made up of vanishing point lines. So very lightly, maybe a little bit more lightly this time, I'm going to give myself a couple guidelines here to figure out the direction that I should put my lines going in the other direction. So let me do that. Okay. So that's definitely still pretty light. Now I'm going to do a little bit of black on top. I'm not pressing hard at all. I just want to put some black because I want this color up at the top to relate to the colors that you see throughout the cube on the other sides here. Okay, so I just want to kind of connect it and make it all work together. Okay. Okay. So I think that that's good for light. So I have my light, my medium, and my dark. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is create those transitions in tone, just like you see on the shadow. You see how as I get out from behind this cube, the shadow does get a little lighter as it comes toward this corner. Let's do that, but we have to be kind of strategic and consider the direction of our light source. Okay, so let's talk about this darker side. Let's tackle this first. So we need to go from a dark corner to a lighter corner, and the lighter corner will remain whatever shade this side of the cube is. The darker will have to add more colored pencil to that. If I make this my darker corner, there's the risk of me making it look too similar to the dark umbre color of my shadow. I don't want all of this to be the same, or I won't be able to tell my shadow from my box. So putting it at the bottom We could put it here because I did start going a little lighter as I came toward this edge, because this shadow gets lighter as I go toward in this direction as well as this direction. I started going lighter in two different directions. So we could put it right here at the corner, or we could put it up here. So why don't we try, or we could put it here too. We could put it over here. So why don't we just put it, let's try something different here. Let's just put it in the opposite corner and do dark to light. We'll do dark to light this way, okay? So what we're going to do is start from this line and kind of flick your pencil down like that so that you get a less dark line when you pick up your pencil. And then also let go of the pressure a little bit as you come across the front of this side here, okay? So that you're pressing a little harder toward the corner, this corner right here. Then I'm going to switch to my black pencil here, and I'm going to press harder over here, but I'm going to flick my pencil up a little bit so that I get a less harsh line as my pencil goes across the front of this, the front of the face of this cube right here. And I'm going to press a little less hard down here as I go toward the bottom. So all the color is concentrated toward here. That's what I'm saying. So I'm going to put some more black lines going like this. Do a couple vertical lines and then kind of fade them away as you come toward this corner. So is this corner now getting darker and more intensely colored than this corner? Yes, I'm starting to see it now. So I'm going to put another layer. I think that would do the trick. Just kind of flick my pencil down like that, and then do another layer going across horizontally. Really press hard kind of in the beginning and then kind of flick your pencil, and then put it a little less strong down here. All right, so now, okay, so now it's definitely darker in that corner. So let's think about this. We're almost done. Now, what about this medium corner? So it goes from dark to light. So we could make this corner darker, because you're not supposed to have a dark corner next to another dark corner, because it could look too similar. So we have the contrast. We could make this the darker corner, or we could make this dark and go from dark to light this way. We could try that. So why don't we try that? Because this is pretty dark just in general. So why don't we try dark to light this way? Because this is definitely much lighter in this corner of the dark side. So if we put like a little bit of a darker value right here in this corner, this will still really show that contrast. So the contrast is what expresses a change in angle. So I'm going to start right here, and I'm going to flick my pencil up and then go a little bit lighter with the pressure as I come toward this edge, because that's where the sun is hitting. Most likely it's lighting up this side, which is out of our view. You know, this side of the cube that's turned away from us, but it's still getting some light along that edge, so we shouldn't put too much pencil there. All right, now I'm going to go in with a little bit of black colored pencil and kind of go across and follow my horizontal lines. I'm keeping my pencil strokes widely spaced because I don't want the color to be as dark as that. So if I space my pencil lines apart a little bit, it's going to be lighter because it's going to show more of the white of the paper underneath. Okay, and I'm also going to do some vertical lines. Okay. So does that look like it's starting to get darker just a little bit? Maybe we need to put just one more layer, okay? And press really hard, and then more lightly, and more lightly as you go up. Maybe we need to do a couple vertical lines with the red colored pencil too. So we have the dark part, the dark side, the medium side, and now let's figure out, how do we figure out where the darker corner is to create a transition in tone. So transitions in tone. That's what they're called when you go from a dark corner to a light corner. And that makes the cube more three-dimensional if you do that. So we have dark to light. So this is light right here. Then we have dark to light here. So we could make this corner our dark corner. If we make this corner our dark corner, it's still okay because it's never going to be as dark as this dark side of the cube. What I don't want to do is make this the dark corner, because that is closest to our light source, and even here. So I would think that these two are the best candidates to become the darker corner. So I'm going to try right here in the middle and see how that looks. It could be here as well, but I want to try right here. I think that would be a nice contrast because it's light here, and then this could be dark. So I'm going in with my black. It doesn't matter. It could be, you could start off with your white, with your red or your blue, whatever color you're using. So you could start off with your black instead of your color. Now I'm going to turn my paper so it's more comfortable to draw, and then I'm going to go this way. Okay, so you can see right away it's starting to become dark. Maybe I'll just go in the opposite direction just one more time, and I think that's good enough. It's done. So that's how to do transitions in tone, okay, for each of your sides, and that's how to finish the cube in colored pencil. I use red, I use black, and I just use the white of the paper. So I'm kind of counting the color of the paper as also a third color.